Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, I said it right. I said afternoon. Sometimes when this show gets rescheduled, I still say good morning. You guys forgive me. I do apologize. This was supposed to be our usual time, 9 a.m., and we had a little bit of a fender bender over the weekend. So I've been dealing with an insurance adjuster, insurance company, had to go to the police department and drop off a report and stuff like that. Just those things in our adult life that sort themselves out but irritate the hell out of you in the process. So I'm armed for bear, if you know what I mean. Let's see who is in here. Sharon, good afternoon. Hello, Tracy, Gaelic, Aggie, DT, Angie Gibson, Kayla, Misty, D Nurse. Hello. She said, hello, friends of summer. Hello, Eve. There's Shannon. Katie Bird. Now, I was going through here before I started. Hello, Nene. Did somebody say Olivia Newton-John died? I swear I read this in here. Melanie said hello from Boston. Well, hello, Boston. Let me see. Amy, how are you? Amy said, finally catching live. Well, and that's another thing. That's our silver lining. Sometimes when we have to push the show up to later in the afternoon, those that can't catch it in the morning, catch it then. You know what I'm saying? So there we go. We're not going to be too upset. Lisa, good afternoon. There's my friend Just Me. Let me see. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Hello, Jordan. How are you? Newbie and Max. Hope I caught everybody. Hello, Jules. I think I did. I saw Larry. I'm not buying it. Okay. Sonia. There's my friend Sonia. Jackie. Fancy Clancy. Hope everyone's doing good. Oh, there's our girl Muscles and Mascara. Dawn G. Crazy times. Crazy times. JPL, thank you, hun. Thank you for the super sticker. She said, I'm just happy that your fender bender was not anything insurance can't fix. Well, let's wait until we see the mechanic. He might look like Cletus off the Dukes of Hazzard. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it all works out. Like I said, it's just one of those things that happens. And the girl that hit us, wow. Basically, either we're going to pay out of pocket if it's reasonable, because you don't want your insurance to go up when possible, if you know what I mean. But this is a collision shop, so they're always really proud of their work. So more than likely, our insurance will have to pay for all of it. So either way, no big deal. It'll go up a little bit, maybe. But she has an expired driver's license, no insurance. Doesn't even have a legal tag on this car. She bought it out of somewhere in Oklahoma City, and I don't know how long she's had this damn paper tag on there. Probably, obviously, since the day she bought it, but I'm saying it's been on there a long time. It's not even laminated anymore. Her car, from before she hit us, it looks like it's been in a damn demolition derby, okay? It's like she's driving a car that is totaled. I mean, if she just happened to bump into a curb and turn into insurance without even giving her any numbers, they'd be like, no, this car is totaled and it has nothing to do with you bumping the curb. So, yeah, preschool granny said, oh boy, she could be in trouble. Yeah, she could. But the police didn't get there because no injuries or anything like that. And it's, 8:30 at night in Tulsa. So they've got other things going on, like shootings, robberies and stuff. So they weren't really gonna get off their beat, to come look at basically a broken tail light and a dent, if you really want to know the truth. But anyway, so she actually got off very lucky on Saturday, because they would have hit her with several tickets. I guarantee. Mary said, and she was probably on her cell phone texting. That's what I'm thinking, because there's no way she could have missed us. And she was very apologetic. She was crying, the whole 9 yards. And she said she had just gotten off work, went in to get something to drink, and she said she wasn't paying attention. So I turned it into our insurance. She did tell me that her insurance lapsed, and I said, well, sometimes there's a grace period. And she was really worried about the insurance. So as I was on the phone making the report with our insurance, with AAA, she was knocking on my window, and she shows me her phone, and I see Progressive date of policy is the day of the wreck. And I rolled down the window, and I'm like, what happened? She goes, oh, I just got insurance. Well, it doesn't really work that way, but I'll give her an E for effort. But yeah, she was not paying attention. Let's see. Wake and Bake 420. What a name. Wow, that's too bad. Was she able to get a license from before it expired? I don't know why she didn't renew her license. I have no idea. But it expired in March. I did get a copy of her license. So we're good on my end. We have all the documentation and everything like that. You just have to wait for this to sort itself out, which it will. I mean, my truck's drivable. I'm not worried about that. It's just, it's a pain in the ass nobody needs. Mary said, good try, Chicky Poo. Yeah, I think she was certainly not paying attention to her own admittance. Then she's telling about her 5-year-old son. She's got a lot going on, all right? She moved down here from another state. Met this guy online, and well, she's just got a lot of stuff going on, but still didn't deserve to have my shit all torn up. So let's see what our friend Kat's doing, because I basically about made the show about my fender bender. What's up, Kat?
Hey, Brooks. Well, it was very enjoyable to hear about your fender bender. I'm glad you explained what that meant, because I was sitting here imagining all sorts.
It could be a porn movie by the time I got done.
Well, I didn't like to say, but I'm glad you're okay. No one was hurt in the making of that fender bender incident.
No, that's the thing. Nobody was hurt. Nothing that can't be replaced. But
yeah, it's just a hassle.
She definitely, because we weren't going to sit there and wait on the police all night. And if we wanted to be like that, we could have, but they would have wrote her a bunch of tickets, maybe arrested her. I don't know. She could have other stuff going on.
Yeah, well, you kind of think hopefully she'll learn a lesson then and go get a license and insurance and everything sorted out. Not just sign up for it while she's on her way to your window. It's like, oh, look, I just got insurance. Like literally this second.
I was like, nobody is going to believe this.
All right.
She's knocking on my window as I'm talking to my insurance company. And I'm like, so you just got insurance? Well, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. It's going to be a little hard for me to tell them that she just happened to get insurance and then hit us as I'm on the phone with the insurance company, as if I would do that anyway. But, I could tell what she was hinting at.
Right. Well, the thing is as well is that won't her insurance company realize that she literally signed up about 20 seconds after an accident happened? They don't usually pay out if you literally just sign up. So I don't know what she would claim for anyway. Sounds like her car was a banger.
Oh, dear God. We have pictures of it. I'll send you these pictures. You're not going to believe this hoopty was even able to drive around. I was like, God dang. I guess I wouldn't be paying attention either. I would be praying that somebody hit me with that thing.
Yeah. So apart from that, are you well, Brooks?
Oh, good. Yeah, besides just lots of irritations like that. I did ask her, I go, can you explain to me what all happened to your car? Because
didn't do all that damage hitting my tail light.
The most attractive thing about her car was where she hit us. I said, can you explain to me what happened to your car? She goes, I bought it like this. She said, I had a really nice car. She's explaining this imaginary Mercedes-Benz she supposedly had. And I said, she goes, but I had a hit and run. She goes, and the motherfucker didn't have any insurance. And I'm like,
oh,
It's a pretty good story to be telling me right now.
Right.
I don't think any of this happened, but okay, I'll let you have it.
Mm-hmm. Well, hope she learns her lesson.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hang on one second. I'm not buying it. Said, love your videos with the swans at Miss Cat. Yes. On the weekends, Cat goes live and we get to see Chip, her cat, the swans, and it's always a great show. So, you guys, we have a bunch of new names in here. Don't forget to sub the channel you're on, and don't forget to sub Cat's channel. Oh, we got Emma in here too. We might be having
Emma.
a party.
We love you too.
Love you, Emma. So let's get to the show, since if not, I'll be going on and on and on about how I haven't even gotten to how pissed I'm at the adjuster. But anyway, we'll save that for another day. Okay. By the way, everybody I have spoken to has subbed this channel. So if any of them are listening, I take it all back.
I just think that's awesome. It's just like, you hit my car now, you'll sub my channel, or I'll call the police on you.
Yeah. And if you're listening, I'm telling the truth. Call me Candace. It's not in my metabolism. I'm telling you exactly what happened.
Brilliant. Oh, man.
Oh, so we're talking about Tim Mullins' human boss, Don, today, and his peculiar relationship with Tim. Now, let's all marinate on this for a second. Who would trust a total stranger to take care of such delicate details when your daughter is missing and you, with your fingers crossed, pinky swear behind your back, have nothing to do with it?
Perhaps someone that had spent quite an inordinate amount of time making sure you were quite isolated from everybody else.
Yeah. Don is quite alienated, besides the fact that he's in jail, because I don't see that Miss Metabolism has too much to do with him, because she's somebody. It made sounds one way or another. But he definitely trusts Tim, even trusts him to the point where he will dictate a letter from the jail and trusts him to write it down and relay the information. That's a pretty big trust to have in somebody when you think about it. God only knows what Tim, how he is. We've all heard Don talk, how he is computing all of this wonderful knowledge, and that he's going to relay it the right way.
Well, in my opinion, he's very good at embellishing things, Tim Mullin. He obviously has a better command of the English language than Don does. I think it's quite evident in the letters that have come out, because if you imagine those letters written in Don's voice, it does not compute.
No, the writing certainly does it. It looks like something from the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, right. Well, just the language as well. I mean, the actual verbiage and everything used in the letters does not simulate with Don's style of speaking, writing, thinking. You know, that there's a huge gap in between probably what Don said. Just write a letter to Summer and just say, yeah, you know, we miss you and all that. And then Tim sits down and writes this letter that, you know, only Shakespeare could have looked upon and been in awe of, you know.
Oh, it's very Shakespearean in all words.
Absolutely.
John Q, welcome, my friend.
Hey,
John Q came to visit us.
Hey, John Q. Nice to see you.
So I'm going to go through some comments from the last show that relate to this show, and let's see what everybody thinks. Here we go. All right, here we go. Angela said, seriously, I think there was really too much that could have happened to Summer to guess anymore. For the first year, I always thought a tragic accident that for whatever reason had to be covered up. I have since, fairly recently, believed that any scenario is possible. Oh, you said a mouthful, Angela. I really was annoyed with law enforcement all along because it seemed they weren't doing as much as they could. Now I'm starting to think they're as lost as everyone else. It's a tragic case. So I'm bringing this one up because, well, we can all agree. What do we think that Tim, now I don't believe there's any jailhouse conversations going on, okay? This is just a possibility. How much was confided into Tim before Summer's earthly father went to jail? Is he holding something over someone's head? Because Candace isn't saying anything, she disappeared. And let's face it, she doesn't follow rules. So even if law enforcement said, pipe it down, which they'd be crazy if they did, for her just to go back into the shadows and not say anything, who's got that kind of control over her?
Right.
This communication from Don, we obviously know he trusts him. WJHL, does they refer to him as the family's media manager?
Which to me seems that they've given him some kind of kudos in his role that they believe that he has in this situation. Whereas, you know, I know we've spoken before about what is a media manager and how do you just set yourself up as one by starting a Facebook page and calling yourself the media manager? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, you can call yourself a doctor online.
Right. Right.
No one else is going to call you that. So I'm just wondering how, I mean, they obviously believe it, unless it's an inside joke at the station.
Well, yeah. I mean, didn't Candace sort of start to disappear from the shadows when the whole thing about the phone that Tim Mullin had came out? And that seemed to be when Candace sort of, you know, began to fade quite rapidly from the discourse, if you like, involved in this whole case, was when Tim had the phone. Brooks?
Yes, I had to let my cat in.
Oh.
It wasn't too long after that. I mean, I would say a few weeks, maybe.
Right. So I wonder how much that phone actually really had to do with the case, because Don seemed to trust him enough to give him his phone, and Candace seemed to be fairly okay with the fact that she didn't have the phone at that point. Tim had it and he was downloading information from it.
He backed it up. He brought it back to her in a plastic bag.
Right.
She gave it to the uppers.
The uppers, right.
I have a feeling he wasn't happy with that story being told, and he never came out to correct it.
Nope.
And I kind of think we might have a little bit of a parallel as to why she decided to shut her mouth. Someone's got his thumb on her, because he does not do what she's told.
No. She's got no respect for the rules. She's got no respect for authority. And, you know, even if, like you said, even if the police told her to go quiet, she wouldn't. The only thing that I can see connecting her going quiet, apart from, you know, a couple of panels that she did around that time, was the fact that she knew that Tim had that phone. And then she started to, you know, quite soon after Don went to jail, seemed to fade away quite quickly into the shadows.
Which is really odd, because she was the belle of the ball. She was downloading dating apps. She had a little bit of a crush on Benny. Then, which God had to have weirded him out. Oh yeah, the wish list for all the camping gear. And then she kind of moves on to Ernie. And then she's got this very strange yet sober stream from a hotel room. And then she's gone. The most teasing we have got is before the sisters went on Chris McDonough's show. And we get the black screen crickets, and then of course it disappears. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. She did that to stir people up before those two went on there.
Yeah. And to distract the attention, because people started immediately talking about the fact that she'd put this video up, and it was hours before Chris McDonough was about to go live with the sisters. To me, it just, you know, that was not a coincidence that she put that video up right at that point. was distraction and deflection. And if we know anything about Don and Candace and all of the people involved in this case, distraction and deflection is one of their top sports.
Oh, it's an Olympic sport.
Right.
It's an Olympic sport. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They know how to do that. And they love reactions.
Yeah.
They love, and they know what the reaction's going to be. It's going to be just outrage. It's my AAA adjuster. He better be listening to the show. Knows not to call me when I'm live. So, but they know the reaction they're going to get, and it never, especially with Dawn, never stopped them from continuing. They're not advocating for summer.
No.
There's some kind of weird game going on here. Vero said, Brooks, I wonder if Dawn knew about that terrible situation with Summer and the OD. I think this would be something that Candace would take care of and him not know about. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's much more likely to know about something more recent, I should imagine. That would probably be more important to him, like knowing how much the land is worth that they live on, or you know, he's not in it for summer. He's not doing this for summer. There's some self-serving reason why he is a servant to his human boss, Don. There's an end game and in my opinion, like a speculate to accumulate kind of thing going on. I don't think he really cares about what happened to Summer. I don't even really think he cares about Don and Candace at all. I think that he's in this for himself, and he's manipulating and controlling this whole situation for his own ends and his own gain.
Absolutely. And he could be getting some cash right now. He has a YouTube channel. He doesn't say anything about Summer on it, but he could go live and just tease everybody with the inside info, the scoop of talking with Dawn, you know, flash a PayPal, flash a Cash App. He's not doing that. Now his friend Jodie Sue is. And I think he's keeping that train rolling.
Yeah. I agree. I think that he doesn't need to do it on his own channel because he has friends in high places, in inverted commas, meaning people like Jodie Sue, who are quite more than willing to sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours at a time making money on YouTube through having little or no information. And he's probably profiting from that as well in some way. He's like a puppet master, in my opinion. And he's juggling quite a few puppets right now.
Oh, he certainly is. He certainly is. And I had several comments. I had emails, and it all comes back to the land. So here's a comment from Fran. She said, I really think Dawn will have to sell the land. Tim, probably, because after 6 months, just look at all the bills, no job. You know, I mean, think about just the mess it is. Just the mess it is. And if you need money, you need it fast. That could be. But then Fun to Ski said the Wells property could be in a perpetuity trust. They're designed to operate indefinitely. A prescribed statutory period of 125 years for all time forever. Dynasty Trust, which lasts 1,000 years, says, not sure if I read that the property is one of these or there is another name for the specifics. Trust of Ben Hill Road. That has gone around that legally Don can't sell it, but he sold some land to Jackie Dobbs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what makes me think it's quite possibly not in a trust like that, because he has sold some land already. So, you know, I guess you can't, if your land is under trust, you can't sell one part of it without selling and not be able to sell other parts of it, surely.
Well, and normally when trusts like that are set up, it's a totally different story. It's because you're donating the home for like an art museum.
Okay, yeah. Or history.
Or someone's boyhood home for people to come and look at. Like Lisa Marie can't jump up and sell Graceland, but Don sure can sell what he has on Ben Hill Road.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk a little more about that. Okay, so I haven't seen anything. If I missed it, I apologize. That the court records reflect that Dawn had a hearing last week. I don't know why.
It's not on the court records as far as I know.
It hasn't been updated at all.
No.
You know, Tim posted, it would only be Tim on the Find Summer Wells page. Dawn saw the judge. He doesn't need rehab. And he's getting out October 30th. It actually all sounds believable enough to me. I just don't know why it hasn't been updated in their system. But anyway, so as all this is going on, he's posting this, and of course, people are scrambling. Dawn's getting out. Dawn's getting out. Dawn's getting out. What's Dawn going to do? And yes, I was one of them. I was like, oh boy, this is going to be something else. Then Dawn writes another letter. So hold on one moment. We're going to talk about that.
Cool. I haven't actually read it really, so be good.
New tonight at 11, Don Wells, the father of Summer Wells, the Hawkins County girl who went missing more than a year ago, has learned when he'll be released from jail. He's currently serving jail time for a DUI arrest back in October. Tonight, his media manager says he had his 6-month hearing, and the judge decided that Don Wells will be released October 30th without having to complete rehabilitation. His original sentence determined he would need to complete an alcohol rehab program, but again, a judge decided he would not need to complete that. Tonight, Don Wells also wrote a new letter to his daughter, Summer. It was released as a YouTube video. You can find both on WJHL.com.
So how did he get a 6-month hearing when it hasn't even been 6 months yet?
See, February, March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, it would have been because he went in February 7th.
It's not August yet, is it? What date is it?
Yeah, this is August. I had to count.
Oh, it's the 8th of August today. So the 6 months would have been yesterday, right?
Right. So they did it last week. So a 6-month hearing made sense to me.
Right.
Him not needing rehab, that's been talked about, but that's all. I mean, that's just kind of been speculation. He's getting out the 30th. Here's my thing. What is this dude really all about? Because without anything from the court, anything from law enforcement, WJHL does a segment,
right?
And it says, according to the Wells media manager, with nothing to back it up. Who is this dude, and how does he have such a hold on anybody?
Yeah. I mean, you would have thought that a news organization like WJHL would have found out that that was true before they put it on their news broadcast, right? I mean, they're a reputable news company, not just some random YouTubers gone rogue. They're actually a news organization. You would have thought like it was their duty to actually go find some evidence that actually happened.
That's what's freaking me out. Because this was,
I mean, it might have happened, but they didn't say, according to the court system or according to the sheriff or whoever. They said according to the media manager. Well, the media manager who set himself up on Facebook as a media manager, who is he?
Exactly. Does that not kind of freak you out a little bit?
Yeah, it really does.
Like
they only said him.
Call and say, I'm the new media manager. Tim has moved on to the John Bonet case. So here I am. Let me introduce myself. And they just do a news segment.
Right.
Why is this man trusted so much?
Right. I might just ring them and say, I'm the Wells new critic in chief. And I would like to tell you that Don is getting out of jail tomorrow. Is that okay? And they'll just run a news story about it, right? Except for the fact that I don't have money and I don't have power and I don't have influence. And I wonder how much of that is because Tim does have those things.
Something's going on, because when this link was sent to me, I was like, well, what could this be? And I'm reading it and I'm thinking they're going to have Lawson on there, somebody official. And this was reported to them. Nothing against WJHL. I think there's something more to it. Sorry, I do. This is from the Wells media manager, yet nothing with the court system's been updated, because people are checking that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Is he really getting out the 30th? Is he really getting out the 30th? It's got to be on there.
Well, the hearing should be on there, even if it was even if it's just a hearing, then they should have put it on the court records that there was a hearing on that day. You know, they haven't even done that.
They haven't even done that. So they just take him at his word.
Does Mullin own the news network? Someone just said in chat. Mullins owns WJHL. I doubt it.
Well, they've done some very not flattering segments about Don and Candace, so I don't think he owns it, because he wouldn't have let that fly, right?
No. He has to have some kind of foot in the door, though, for them to put such a speculative story on without them having a segment that just, you know, even like a cutaway to the news, to the court bulletin or something that showed Don was in court that day. Seems very gullible to just listen to a man called the media manager and take what he says and run a story with it.
Exactly. And I just looked it up. Not that I expected to see Tim's name. Next Star Media Group owns it. They own a bunch of them. So what would he, what kind of pull would he have with any of these people? And WJHL, I mean, I watched them all the time with the Evelyn Boswell case, and of course with Summers, and they've always been like responsible journalism. And this, I'm just saying, this is just odd to me.
Right.
Again, I'm sitting here racking my brain going, who is this guy?
Right. Who is he really? Because I've been asking that, well, I think most of us have been asking that question since we ever first heard his name, the Sandman. He seemed to be very involved in the case, very involved with the family, but actually in real life, not, you know, certain YouTuber style where they say they're friends with someone that they've never even met, but actually was with the family, like when they went to Dr. Phil and all of that kind of stuff. Who is he? I wouldn't mind betting. I mean, I did for a while wonder if he could be like undercover FBI or something, but I'm wondering if it's like a Masonic thing or a, you know, secret kind of. He's obviously got money. How he got it is unknown. What his actual job is unknown. But I mean, he could have had an inheritance or something to set himself up. And the way that he makes money is by manipulating and controlling people that have no control over their own lives because they're in jail or they're on the run or whatever. And basically not blackmailing them, but supporting them in public so that eventually they have to pay back like a mob boss kind of thing, a mafia kind, not a mafia, I don't say that word, but do you know what I mean?
Loan sharking. I'm going to front you this, but you're going to pay me back this much more. I wouldn't doubt at all that something like that's not going on. I do not believe for a minute that this man has got Summer and her best intentions and advocating for her at heart. If he's a media manager, which we know he's not, that's a title that was made up. How the hell Don and Candace agreed to that? Well, Candace wouldn't. That just sounded fancy to Don. So he's like, oh, that sounds good to me. He's not advocating for Summer in any way, shape, or form. Everything on this website that a fourth grader could have made is just real bland and doesn't really, if he wants to advocate for Summer, put the damn timeline up.
Yeah. Well, don't call the YouTube channel Don Wells Family Official. Call it Summer Wells Site or something. You know, don't put Don's name in it. Why would you do that? Has this never been about Don? And it seems that Tim Mullin really has almost love bombed Don, if you like, to kind of, I don't know, get in there with Don, because it seems to be Don that he's controlling and able to have control over right now. Of course, Candace has done a runner. She don't want anything to do with Tim Mullin, does she? She doesn't really like him, but Don's got no choice right about now because he's the only person that's keeping him afloat, really. Where is that right now?
Candace was the one, I can't remember what channel she was on, and she said Donnie doesn't even like him. Like he thinks he's a big nerd or something like that. Because I hadn't heard the word nerd in a long time, so I remember that part of it. Tim, you nerd. Goodness. And I was just like, Okay. Well, I mean, how's old Tim going to take that? Because she was speaking out saying Dawn doesn't even like him. Well, now Candace, zip, she's not saying anything. Dawn is writing poems and shit out of jail. Real quick, Lisa Lee said Dawn wouldn't have another court date on what he was already sentenced on. Yeah, I'm like, why would we need a status hearing or anything if he's already been sentenced? That sentence was already given to Dawn, and if he chooses to request a program that he now qualifies for, he can do so. So why is the docket not updated? He said this was coming up. I can't remember who did he message. It was Evil Exists, I believe, where he said that he was going to be going before the judge. Now we have WJHL acting like it happened. So someone's either going to say this happened or they're going to have to correct it. And I can't imagine WJHL running a correction. We were fooled by Tim.
Right. Yeah. How does that happen? It wasn't originally when he was sentenced, he was given 11 months and 29 days. After 6 months, he would be eligible to go to a rehab if it was appropriate or something. So he's still got a sentence of 11 months and 29 days.
Exactly. So getting out on the 30th, JLR did say that. He's probably grasping that, but adding some extra in, thinking nobody would check up on it.
Right. Well, didn't he say in one of the letters, his season in jail, my season in jail will be, or my fulfillment to the court system of Tennessee will become complete, or some other such Darth Vader bullshit. That's not the kind of stuff that Don would say. That's the kind of stuff that Tim would say, and Tim has written in the letters. I mean, WJHL didn't even call Don Summers' earthly father. They called him Summers' dad.
Yes.
I mean, they got that bit wrong, didn't they? Because he is Summers' earthly father, according to him.
Summers' earthly father. Now, some of that weird shit, I could imagine Don saying. I really could. And when you read the letter I'm getting ready to read, it's really hard to not have some empathy and feel bad until you go back and you remember all the nasty stuff that's happened. And you're like, okay, never mind. Get that thought out of your head.
Right. Right. I mean, you can't undo. And the thing is, Don really only now has to appeal to everyone that comes onto Summer's case or starts, watching stuff about Summer's case from this point on. He's not banking on people going right back to the beginning and watching all the shit shows that happened back in June, July, August, September, October, November, December last year, is he? He's hoping that people will come into this case and see that he is a man pleading to the abductors of his daughter 13 months later for her release, yet 13 months ago couldn't put pen to paper and write a letter, couldn't even explain how she was abducted. It's ridiculous.
No, and he knows all these things, yet wasn't home.
Right.
Wasn't home. The dogs weren't there. Candace is pissed off because she had to corral the dogs when they brought the canines up to search for her missing daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If anyone's banking on people picking up this case from now onwards, they kind of did the same thing when they went on the Dr. Phil show. They knew it would bring a whole new audience of people who had never heard about Summer and would only have seen them on the Dr. Phil show, heard that there was a cornbread mafia that, possibly took Summer, seen that the body language panel pretty much exonerated Don and made Candace cry. And then they would have thought, wow, these parents are getting a really hard time. They didn't know what was happening 3-4 months beforehand on YouTube. And so they're doing the same again now. Don's going to come out of jail with a kind of like newfound ego that people only know him because he was in jail during the time when he could have been out searching for his daughter. But no, he had to go to jail. He had to spend time at season in jail.
Season in jail. Yet he gave his daughter a season in hell.
Right.
And I mean on earth. Don't twist that around. She was not treated well. She was not treated well at all. And the whole Dr. Phil thing actually worked in his favor.
Yep.
Because we forget. We have our own lives, our own busy lives. Forgot about all the nasty stuff from just a few months prior. And everyone's like, oh, it's Candace alone.
Right.
Don's been just taken for a ride, but he's loyal to the end. And I'm like, what?
Yep, he came back with the newspaper articles. Dr. Phil says Don is innocent. You know, he was buoyed up by that. And the people that only just started watching the case thought that he's like this completely innocent person caught up in this whole thing of no fault of his own. Remember Jupiter's Delight, when Dr. Phil said he didn't think he was involved, and he was like, thank you. A big smile on his face, like, yeah, he's in the same position now as far as I'm concerned. He's coming out to manipulate people the same way he did before he went to jail. And he's been enabled and facilitated by Tim.
Exactly. And there's those of us that haven't gone away. We have followed the whole time. It's hard to remember everything. So, you know, we don't knock each other. If somebody was like, oh, I forgot that it went this way, whatever. But, so like we remember all these things, even if we have to refresh each other's memories.
Yep.
Don and Candace actually had, I don't mean to say it like this because obviously Summer is missing. They actually had a lot of public sympathy a year and a couple of months ago. They really did. It's when they started talking, and especially the McDonough interviews, which the media manager obviously had nothing to do with, gears shifted. Now, the media manager is supposed to be in control of what the media reports. He obviously can't control Don because we can't forget all the nasty stuff that Don has done on YouTube. You know, don't break my fucking doors, Candace. The live DUI call, saying that he went to, was it Kingsport or Knoxville or something, to buy crack to prove to everybody that he doesn't need to sell his daughter for crack. The TBI knows about his cocaine habit. That
sunglasses on the toilet on Benny's.
Let's not forget the toilet. Let's not forget where he said he's been in places where they sell kids.
Right.
But then we're supposed to believe letters like this. All right, here we go. It's on the screen. Dear Summer, I don't know if there's even the remotest chance of you ever seeing this letter, but I'm going to write it hoping you will. First of all, I want you to know that I love you with all my heart. Now, this is a weird letter. Let me tell you why. Because he's writing it from first person. He's not including Candace.
Right.
There's no your mother and I. There's no we. I. First of all, I want you to know that I love you with all my heart. I've never missed someone as much as I miss you. My heart aches constantly, and then the thought of someone mistreating you puts so much anguish and fear for you that I can barely breathe at times. I beg God for your life and break out in tears constantly. I'm very glad I got to spend 5 years with you, but now my life always feels like snow, rain, and drizzle never ending. You are the highlight of my entire miserable existence on this earth. I love you, Summer, with every fiber of my being, sweetheart. I love you, and I will never give up on you. One day I will see you again. As I said, when you read that, it's really hard not to get emotional and feel really bad. Maybe he is all sobered up and this is the real Don. I don't know. He couldn't have been drunk every time we saw him. There was a lot of times he was extremely lucid. He was actually, I mean, a lot of times.
But
so
he
this
still never
letter
spoke
is
like that about Summer, even when he was lucid.
He didn't advocate for Summer. He wasn't talking about missing Summer. It was a lot of aggression, defensiveness. She's gone, buddy.
Upset with Equisearch, upset with the helicopters that kept him awake, flying over his house looking for Summer. You know, anger with Tim Coop. Was it Tim Coop? The Equisearch person? I can't remember. It's Dave Radar, wasn't it? He gets so upset with Dave Radar. They had a huge humongous row because they dared to go out and search for his daughter, you know? All this bullshit.
And they were at the bar the whole time and stuff like that.
Right. You know, it's just like you say, you can read the letter and think, oh yeah, you know, okay, he's going through stuff. And then you remember all that stuff. And it's like, how do you put 2 and 2 together and come up with 4? This doesn't equal 4.
No.
Snow, rain, and drizzle. Yeah, I agree. That doesn't sound something like Don would say.
And the wording from this letter, now mind you, he's sober. He hasn't had anything to drink. This letter is worded totally different than the last 2 that we read. Like I said, they sounded like something like almost, we had a poem about Moses.
Right. Yeah, he's not a very poetic person. I could tell that by his really early Facebook posts that he would put up about how people needed to go to the Seventh-day Adventist church, and they needed to understand what YouTube was doing to him and all of this kind of stuff. It wasn't exactly poetic, let's put it that way.
No. And like the last one, you could tell somebody was trying to be poetic. This one, they got lazy. Now, it was signed Summer's earthly father. Right. Jane said, not going to rehab just proves he will not do anything for Summer. Right. Wouldn't that be the best thing for you, Dawn? Yep. You don't have a job. There's nothing to return to on Ben Hill Road. You have a lot of stuff to do up there. You've got nothing but a headache up there. It's going to be so infested with roaches and rats and who knows? Who knows? I mean, grass up to your eyeballs.
It was already infested before he went to jail, let alone now. It was already, you know, what do they call them? Wolf rats or something on the table and all of that.
Yeah, the wolf rats. Disgusting.
So but neither of them have moved an inch in terms of actually what they've proactively done to look for their daughter, or, you know, he couldn't even plead that. Remember that back at that time where everyone was saying to him, you know, use this time to plead for your daughter or beg for your daughter's return or whatever. And he just couldn't even say her name. Like, he literally couldn't even bring himself to say her name. Like,
no, and I'm really surprised he used her name so many times in this, if it was truly written by Dawn,
right?
Because we're not hearing lovely young lady,
right?
Such a beautiful girl, like actually using her name. That's again, I'm putting it out there. Who the hell really wrote this?
Right.
Because if it got a sympathy reaction out of me, I have a hard time believing it came from Dawn.
Right, exactly. Well, think about it. Whenever people used to ask him about Summer, you know, what did she like to do? She loved to twirl. Oh, yeah, she loved to twirl. She loved to twirl. And I think, like, by about the 20,000th time that he'd said that, people were just bashing their head against the wall, like, seriously.
Well, and like when he was talking to, I think it was Mary on the phone one night, and they were having an argument. I think it had to do with the charges being pressed in Utah, and he was yelling at her about Summer, and he goes, Summer loves her fucking daddy. Summer loves her fucking daddy. I'm like, your daughter is missing. You shouldn't even care about these charges in Utah. The only thing you should be caring about right now is Summer. That should be the only thing on your mind. Obviously, it's a big deal that your 3 boys are in foster care. But, you know, the main thing is Summer. Summer's the most important.
And as a father, instead of your first reaction being that you would see her in the resurrection, why was your first reaction not to go plow, like walk every field, climb every mountain, kick every door, crawl on your knees before your God that you profess to, you know, worship, and begging him for the return of your daughter, to find out what happened to your daughter? No, his first reaction was that he'd see her in the resurrection. That was his first reaction. I don't get it, because not once has he ever shown that he would go through heaven, hell and earth to find his daughter. No, he's complaining about helicopters going overhead searching for her. You know, he's crying about his poor, sorry self on Facebook. You know, oh, everyone's picking on me. Why go pick on me?
And like the Equisearch thing, he was like, yeah, they said they're boots on the ground, more like boots at the bar. They got big mansions and stuff, making money off Summer. I'm like, they had time to get a mansion?
Right.
They're at the bar all the time. They're at the lake. He goes, they're just pissing me off. And I'm like, They're looking for your daughter.
They're doing what you've never done for your daughter. Not
Yeah.
you and not Candace either, because Candace never lifted a finger either, because she's scared of the bears and the snakes. And
Well, it makes you wonder what she was looking for that night, though. Like I said, they're offended. They're offended to no end if you bring up Summer wandering off. No, can't happen. We trained these kids. We trained them like they're in the army. They knew not to wander off. Yet she drives off looking for Summer, according to her, and he goes to the shed. When he sees the boys, he knew she was just gone.
Exactly.
So the media manager, what's the end game? Like I said, is it a book? There's not going to be anything on the big screen, but it would be like a Netflix special, Hulu, what? Because he could be getting money right now, Jodie Sue style, but he's holding out for something. It always comes back to people are saying, look, he wants that land. I don't know why, and I can't tell you. I can't figure out for the life of me what is so special about it. A month before, or just a few weeks before Summer went missing, Jodie Sue did a live on Facebook where she was furious. She was fit to be tied about land. She said, people around here are going to start disappearing. Not going to say that Jodie did anything with Summer, but she was that mad. She was furious about whatever land sales or whatever were going on out there. That she posted this, and she, like I said, she was furious, and for some reason she was talking normal.
Oh yeah, well, that was before she realized that she could manipulate people by putting on a fake slow voice and pretending like I'm sick.
Yeah, because then we get Jodie in August, who she's accusing people of doxing her. In what universe is that possible? She uses her Facebook page, which has her first, middle, and last name on it.
Yeah, which is a public figure page, by the way. She has reclassified it as herself as a public figure.
A public figure, very public. You can see all of her pictures and everything. And after Summer went missing, when people were, her first introduction to us, she gave her damn address. How can anyone be accused of doing that?
We knew where she lived because she was on the news broadcasts talking about a scream that she supposedly heard, but she never mentioned until, when it suited her, kind of thing. So we knew where she lived. She's not a secret. She just thinks she's hot shit.
Exactly. I agree with John QQ. The letters are seeds being planted now to begin redirecting the narrative again. They try to project the current feelings and thoughts that Donald is having right now, softening the audience.
Exactly. The audience that will pick it up from this point going forwards will see him as nothing but a victim in this whole situation. I agree. This is their opportunity. But in terms of the end game, I think what's happening, like you, Brooks, I've got a feeling that Tim Mullins, or Mullins, whatever his name is speculating to accumulate. He's putting himself as the sole protector, the sole controller, the sole benefactor, if you like, of Don, who is the only person who is actually confiding in him or trusting him or paying him any mind or whatever right now, because he knows that he can get something right at the end of all of this. He's going to get something huge. And whether it's because he's been, like you say, loan sharking kind of attitude, I'm not saying he's lending money, but in terms of, I'll do this for you. And one day he's going to call in all of these favors and it's going to work hugely in his favor, ultimately, whether it's a book deal, Netflix, the land, whatever it is, he's got to stand to accumulate something from all of this speculation. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing it.
Because does anyone think that Tim is really an advocate for Summer?
Nope.
And I think to cover himself and look like he's all about the kids, he reached out to the family of Michael Vaughn to offer his services. We haven't heard about anybody else, but he reached out to them. There's many, many, many other missing children. I mean, really, he was never involved in the Carly Trent case.
No.
And she's local.
Yeah.
What is his end game?
Well, it's really interesting as well that Jodie Sue has been saying exactly the same thing, that she's going to start reaching out to parents and contacts and people of missing children so that she can stop them from going through the hell that she went through, and kind of similar kind of thing to Tim Mullin in terms of getting his name out there, and he's going to be this sole person. But the thing is, I think he's actually really dangerous. That's just my personal opinion. I think he's dangerous because I think he holds way too much power and way too much control over really, really, really vulnerable people. Whether you like it or not, Don is in a vulnerable situation. Yes, it may be of his own making. Yes, it may be of his own volition, but he is in a vulnerable situation where the only person that's actually got his back right now is this guy, Tim Mullin, who no one really knows anything about. No one really knows how he's managed to get to this level, who is now going after or trying to contact parents of other missing children. No one requires your help, Tim. You've put yourself in that situation. There is a reason why you are doing that, and we are not fooled. You might have fooled Don, but you don't fool us.
Well, and you make some very, very interesting points. And also, I have it written down here. If we look at when Lawson made his comments to WJHL, March 1st or 2nd, maybe it was the very last day of February, basically not even a month from when Don went to jail. And he said, no, they're not cooperating.
Right.
He never said that before. So he got control of Don because Don's in jail. Then we start hearing about a phone that he backed up, gave back to her. Then it went to the uppers, whatever the hell that means.
Right.
And she disappears. She won't speak to anybody. She's not even at the house. Nope. I think he's controlling every bit of this. And he's got something in his mind. He's going to get, the word just lost me. He's going to get compensated for all this loyalty one way or another.
I agree. And I think that's exactly his motive for what he's doing. It's nothing to do with Summer. It's about what he stands to gain right at the end of all of this. When they've all played all their cards, he goes around and calls in his debts, right? What a place to be in. You alienate each one of them from each other, even. So the only person they answer to is you. You have that power and control. And he's even started, it seems, to slip it into the media, because if he can just phone up WJHL and tell them that Don was in court without any evidence or anything to back it up, and they believe him and run with it, well, that's a huge win for him, isn't it? Because now he's got the media in his pocket as well.
And he's got them eaten out of his hand.
Right.
No one's going to tell Candace no. Hell, you heard Don yelling at her about breaking his doors. And she just kept on. You like that one? I'll break them all. When I'm done with that, I'll get to the kitchen cabinets. You can repair all those too. You're not going to tell Candace no. Somebody told her no. She's not saying a word. Right.
It kind of makes me think whether that whole phone thing actually proves something on Candace, and she knows that he knows that now. She's not going to go against him or speak up against him or do anything unless he says it's okay, because he's got all the goods right in his hand, right there. He's got all of that data downloaded off that phone, and maybe that is enough to incriminate her, and that's what he's holding over her. And that's why she's gone quiet and disappeared a while, because she doesn't want him to put out what he knows about her.
And that's a very, very good point. It was speculated early on, and people just quit talking about Tim, even though he's so ingrained with these two imbeciles.
Right.
That he's after the reward money. He's after the reward money. Okay, there's no reward. He has an end game.
Yeah, he's got it all planned out. I do feel that he is a much higher level of intellectual narcissist, and he's got it all planned out in his own favor. He's almost playing the players, because Don and Candace thought that they could play us, I believe, and he's come along and thought almost like, well, yeah, you can play them, but guess what, I'm going to play you. And he's taken over that kind of role. He's going to get something huge out of all of this. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but I've got a feeling he knows what it is.
He does. He's got a plan. And I think he had that plan, not so much when he inserted himself, but I think the plan has come along because he had issues with basically YouTubers they were talking about.
Yeah.
He has sat back. He has been patient. He is communicating with the news station in their area.
Right. And he's not communicating on YouTube, which is, if you want to call it a mistake, the mistake that they both made. Then he's not going on YouTube panels and stuff and dropping little bits and feeding little bits of information. He's got control over the family website, the summerwells.com website, all of the channels that, I mean, even calling the Summer Wells channel the Don Wells Family Official channel, he's making it look as though he's completely and utterly on their side. But I just think that he's got his own agenda.
Oh, I do too. Happy said Tim got into the WJHL car at the waterhole day of the vigil. Saw it on a live. He's got his hands in the news too.
Oh, wow.
There's no getting around it. I mean, I'm in Oklahoma. There's no reason for me to look the news up in Tennessee unless it has to do with summer. Okay.
Right.
That's the only reason that I search them out. They have gotten very much increased ratings. Do you think they are feeding into him, hoping they get the scoop one day of what's really been going on?
I mean, it would be interesting if that's what he's kind of led them to believe.
He's the one in communication with them. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. They took him at his word and put this on their newscast.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like a launching pad for him. I don't think it's about Don. I don't think it's about Candace. I don't think it's about Summer. I think it's about him. I think he's using this completely and utterly for his own benefit, gain, promotion, and self-serving kind of thing. Everything self-serving.
Oh, very much so. And he's got people eating out of his hands. For what? For what? And too much happened. I thought nothing was going to happen after Dawn went to jail. I figured Candace would crawl in her hole drunk somewhere. But for not even a month later, Lawson to tell said station, no, they're not cooperating. Who told him to stop cooperating? Because I have a feeling Dawn was like a damn mama bird talking to him all the time. Dawn's got to talk. He's the narcissist. He's got to control every situation.
Yeah.
And narcissists love their own birthday. Let's face it. I mean, your daughter is missing.
Yeah.
He put a video of him, or Tim put it up, of him with all the happy birthday daddy signs. Him driving up with balloons and everything.
Right.
Definitely has ulterior motives. Jules is backstage. Let's see what Jules thinks of this.
Hey,
Jules, so glad you're on panel. What do you think Tim's end game is?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
You bet.
Hey,
Okay.
Jules.
Okay, good. He's after that land for some reason.
That's what many people say.
He says that he found out about the case by reading it in the news, seeing it in the paper, and seeing that everybody had thoughts on it. And then he had a thought that he would go, since it wasn't that far away. And he went a week later. And during that time, he scoped out their property. He knew everything about the Wells property.
So I think
it's in the video.
It's kind of not knowing his history and his background.
MO.
Right. We don't know it. So it's kind of like, has he done this before? Does he know what he's looking for?
He claims that, he has a photography.
Well, yeah. But I mean, every mob boss
he
needs
does.
a cover, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a photographer, yeah. But did you see the state he made of his Facebook page with his cover photo? I mean, I could have made a better cover photo for him, and I'm not a photographer, but
he's just the way he went to the parade on purpose. to take pictures, and then he says that he just was walking down the road and saw a big banner, and it was a picture of the little girl he read about.
Yeah.
And he was shocked to pieces when he saw her mom holding the banner.
Yeah.
And he couldn't believe, he felt so sorry. He couldn't believe, that she was out there, that people would make her be out there during her time of grievance, when we all know that she did not grieve.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know that somehow she got her arm twisted to do that, to make it look better. I've always thought that was Robin's suggestion.
Yes, I agree.
F. Real said Robin brought Tim in. I have heard that before. I don't know for sure. So then we go to the church. Are they thinking that the church is going to somehow get control of this land? I don't know.
Well, wasn't he the photographer for the church? In his words, that's what his job was. He was a photographer for the church. Go on.
He went to the parade. He saw them, and then he found out about a bread making thing at the church. So he decided to go there, and he went there to take pictures of the bread making. And he met Robin and her husband and got her phone number, and she sent him pictures of Summer, is how he got some pictures of Summer.
And obviously
that was out of his mouth. And even Dawn and Candace aren't just going to let some rando take control of everything. There had to have been an introduction done from someone that they trust. And I can only think of Robin facilitating
kind of, yeah.
And then he also said that he recalled being at that church one other time for some kind of seminar years ago to take pictures.
Okay, I knew I'd heard that he'd taken photographs in the church, or he was a church photographer really early on. That's what I heard he was, but I don't remember seeing any of the photos that he ever took in the church. So maybe it was years before that he'd been in there taking photos.
There is a video of Summer at church where it's zoomed straight in on her. Right. People assume that Tim took this video. I've heard that he didn't take it. How we would know, I don't know. I would just love to know. We will find out what the end game is. He has not dedicated almost 14 months to come out with nothing, or he is doing this for someone else that expects something.
Right. Yeah, he's not doing this from the love of his love for Summer, and you can tell that by the way that he has completely blindly supported her parents, or at least Don, without asking any or putting out any information, any questions. His faith in them is unwavering. I mean, he calls Don his human boss. I mean, this isn't someone that's so concerned about what might have happened to a little girl that he's asking any difficult.
He never mentioned Summer. Never.
No. We didn't know Summer, but he's not in it because he thinks that by being nice to Don and Candace, Summer might get found or the truth might come out. He knows the truth, in my opinion, and he's using it against them. He's using it to keep Candace under control right about now so that he can work on Don. That's my opinion.
This is interesting.
Yep.
Sorry. JPL said Don B said that when he called Tim, Robin answered the phone.
Well, I mean, I guess they could be friends. You know, they could have been friends before Summer went missing. It's just that Candace and Robin and Don and Robin, obviously Summer and Robin were friends, and they never met Tim, apparently. So maybe Robin and Tim knew each other beforehand.
Yeah, somebody had to facilitate. I don't think he just wandered upon Candace at a parade.
No, I don't either.
Tim doesn't seem like a real parade goer to me.
Exactly. And she would have just told him where to go, you know, if if she wasn't expecting him to come up to her, I mean, she's not the nicest of people, is she? She wouldn't have been polite and just been like, oh, you know, yeah, thanks for touching my shoulder. Like, she probably would have lamped him one.
Yeah, because Candace isn't the real, I don't want to say trusting. She's not the teddy bear type.
No,
I mean,
no.
if I met her in a dark alley, I would just give up. I'd be like, go ahead and
Right.
kill me.
Right.
She wouldn't be the woman you would approach, missing
No.
daughter or not. Someone facilitated this meeting.
Mhm.
His theory on Summer wandering off is she got curious and went to pet the horses. That's Tim's theory. He put
Yeah.
that on his Facebook maybe a week or so after he was announced as their media manager.
Right. I remember that. Yeah, I mean, that's such a well thought out theory, isn't it? It considers every angle, every possibility, every ins and outs, everything you know, everything you don't know, you come up with. She went off to pet some horses. That's
Yeah,
almost as bad as the eagle swooped down and carried her off theory, but okay, Tim. Like you said, bland. It's the best he could come up with.
Yeah, when I read that, I was like, that's all you've got, man? You
Right.
can't think you've met these people and
Uh-huh.
that's all you can come up with. Of
Right.
course, it's odd to me that Robin's really never had a theory. She's never stuck herself with abduction, wandering off, and she disappeared. People say it's because she
Yeah.
lost her mother, but she had backed away way before that.
Mhm.
She took the picture on the hill, and that was the last we saw of her. So she took a big step back after Dawn went to jail. Did Tim also tell her, you need to stay away?
Maybe. But then, to be fair, my opinion of Robin is that she doesn't really use her own mind, if she even has one. She's almost like a giggly schoolgirl that never grew up. She just, I don't know if she's got an original thought in her head, because if she has, I've never heard one. It's so sad that Summer can't be here today. So sad.
So sad. And I mean, I give her some credence for when she went up to the hill, which I still think is odd.
Yeah. That
You
day.
have law enforcement very thick in that area. Your
Mhm.
daughter has a dance recital. You go up there and she says the whole, we're going to get some snacks and we're going to make an all-nighter and go find her and all that stuff. And they were like, yeah, no, you're not searching. No one's going out there.
Right.
We're working on this.
Yeah.
I kind of probably would have been the same way. Like, she's got to be out here somewhere. She just wandered off. But it's the way
Well,
she
actually, I would
repeated
have
the
thought she would have
story
been
much later.
She would have been better suited going to the church where they were actually handing out the, food to the searchers and all of that, and volunteering there, or taking care of the kids that were there, or, do you know what I mean? She would have been better suited to a role like that, rather than thinking she's going to pack some snacks and go out for a hike in the middle of the night looking for a missing child, That's not
Well,
her
I always
fault.
thought that too. I thought, okay, first of all, she made it clear that she was suspicious of Dawn and Candace when they came to
Yeah.
church. She thought they were there to get free shit. Little did she know.
Mhm.
And a real friend would have said, look, you've got a lot going on. This is upsetting. Let me take the boys to my house.
Right. Exactly.
I'll order some pizza. We'll watch a movie. They don't need to see all this. Not one person, all of their friends, said, let me take care of the boys for you so you can focus on what's going on here. Not one.
And that would have been her strong suit. If anything if Robin could have done anything to help at that point, it would have been something to do with taking care of kids, or helping out other people, rather than thinking that she's going to put her high heel shoes on and go tottering off into the woods in the middle of the night.
He does state that Robin is what brought him close to the case in one of his videos.
Oh, really?
Well,
the part 3 video.
There's our connection right there.
Uh-huh.
So why would she want to involve yet another person? Yet we have such disdain for people looking at the case. I think several of them didn't want anybody looking at the case. And here Robin, God-fearing woman, child of her own, Tim, supposedly the same way. Here we have yet again, no emotion. No emotion.
No. Well, she was a little sad. And that's about as emotional as she got. A little sad.
I could have died when I had to do that show.
No.
I could have bit through a nail. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. She said that.
Right.
I say anything, especially you're addressing children. She does this speech before a Christmas pageant, talking about Summer's dirty toys having to be washed off by the children. She's got to screw loose too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's not the full ticket. She's really not. But I don't think it's in a malicious way. I think I don't really know how you.
She's just an airhead.
Yeah, she's an airhead. She's like a bimbo. What we would call a bimbo. She just. I don't think she means it maliciously. I just don't get her.
Yeah. And the woman is a dental hygienist. That's not an easy degree to get. So she's no idiot by any means. She plays one well on TV, if you know what I mean.
Right. I mean, she must have known that she had better things that she could be doing on that night than putting her high heels on and going trudging through the woods or whatever. You know, it just seems like none of them, not one of them, can think outside their own heads.
Tim also stated that they stayed in contact to stay in contact to touch on the next step of the disappearance of Summer and to deal with the YouTubers and to really deal with what Chris McDonough had said about him.
Wow.
Or had said about Candace. He didn't see a problem with Candace's house, y'all.
The next stage in her disappearance, disappeared is disappeared. Right. You can't tell me that does not sound straight out of the movies Crazy.
Yeah.
That touched on the next step.
Yeah.
His what do you call it? Damage control. That's his job, I think. Or attempting to appear as though he's doing damage control.
And I guess the only way for him to control things is to have Dawn in a place where Dawn can't talk.
Yep.
Because Dawn's in jail. Lawson says they're not cooperating. So unless he had been sitting on that since June, because TBI said they were cooperating.
Yeah.
Not at the last press conference, but when they first came out. Okay, so Lawson's like, no, they're not. They're done. They're not cooperating with us. Candace disappears.
Yep. And she disappears after we find out that Tim has had a telephone or cell phone that he's downloaded data from, which all of a sudden becomes a huge thing, and she disappears. It's like, not quickly, but fairly soon afterwards. It just makes me think maybe he's got something on her, which he knows for a fact and he can prove. So he's silenced her. He's got Don isolated in jail right now. If he has told Robin to leave the whole thing alone, she's gone off. It's like he's isolated everybody, and that way he has control over everybody.
But that's the way to divide. Yes. That's the way to do it. You divide and conquer.
Exactly.
Divide. Yeah. You took the words out of my mouth.
Divide them, alienate them, make them feel like you're the one that's got the power and you're the one that's got the control, and then they have no choice. That's the easiest way to blackmail and extort people is to isolate them. Apparently, I don't know because I've never done it, but to isolate them, and then you use your opportunities to make what you need to get from them.
100%. Guys, I apologize. I misspoke. No, Dawn didn't sell any land to Jackie Dobbs. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I don't even know where that came from. I had it written down. My notes are jumbled. Okay. That's not, Dawn didn't sell the land to Jackie.
But like you said, though, it's easy to forget. There's been so much going on over the last 14 months. It is easy to get things in the wrong order sometimes, or the wrong people. You're forgiven.
Thank you. Thank you, Kat. Grace under fire.
Absolutely. Forgiven.
So, Jules, do you think, you mentioned the land, do you think that's the only reason that Tim is so ingrained and neck deep in this filthiness, or do you think there's something more there?
I think there's more to it.
Well, the land is the capital, isn't it? The
I'm
land
not.
is the money. That's where the money is in this whole situation, is in that land. There's more money in that land than there would be in a book deal or a Netflix deal. Those things may be a juicy bonus for him. The land is where the money's at.
I don't know how much it's worth, and it's only 11 acres. I think he could, well, I don't know how popular the book would be, but they were on Dr. Phil, and I mean, it seems like after Christmas, those people went away. That fell flat. So
we don't know what the land is sitting on in terms of metals, ores, copper, you know, any kind of like precious metals that the land could be sat on top of. We don't know any of that, do we?
No, we don't know what
Right.
or if they even own the mineral rights. We don't know any of that. But somebody
I bet Tim does.
But
yeah.
But Tim does, yes,
Right.
because he knew about Base Mountain, which is on one side of the wells, and then another mountain on the other side, and it was originally belonged to Indians. And he was talking about how oh, I lost my train of thought. How historical that property is. Each side of the mountain, on each side of their property was historical land.
But you see, if he can find that information out, and Jodie Sue has such an issue with that whole thing about the land and all of that, it makes me think there's something about that land that they know that we don't.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Because he's not doing this for free, and he's not doing out of the goodness of his heart. What Jodie Sue is still going on about, I don't know, because she's not entitled to anything. She's not even with Andy anymore.
No, but she could be, well, this is speculation. She could be helping Tim in return for the payoff at the end of it. You know, she could be assisting him in some way as part of it, of the whole thing. If, you know, if there is money to be made, perhaps he's got a hand in working with her as well. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't put it past him.
No.
To be putting her on his payroll, if you like.
No, not at all. Not at all.
No.
I just think the timing is too coincidental, because it happened too fast for, I mean, Robin just gave a ridiculous speech at Christmas time. Dawn goes to jail. I mean, she was still active and talking, got pictures of her with them and everything. Now, mind you, these are people she was suspicious of because they might want something free till she realized they had something. Okay, so she, where the hell's Robin? Of course, we know Candace, you can't find her. Forget it. Dawn's, you know, he's supposedly writing letters out of jail, but they all sound different.
Right.
They all sound different. We don't have drunk Dawn, sober Dawn. We don't have that because Dawn's not drunk. Lawson says they're not cooperating. Too much happened. The phone that Tim backed up. Who the hell takes a phone for their friend and says, you know what? Kat left her phone here at the restaurant, but before I take it to her, I'm going to back up all the data.
I'm going to back it up.
Yep. No one does that for nothing. No reason, do they? You just randomly think to do that. I just think there's much, much more in terms of what was on that phone and why it was downloaded and why the data was held by Tim and why Candace has disappeared and why he's got his thumb or his foot on Don's neck right now. That's all got to be connected, in my opinion. I have no evidence, but just a feeling, you know.
All connected. I think it's all connected because for whatever reason, Dawn goes to jail and people that had been very vocal, and Candace, I mean, it was like she had bell bottoms and she was under the disco balls. She was so happy. Anybody that had time to talk to her, she was there. She was loving it. She's talking about skydiving, dating apps, slash day, and then boom, one day it stops.
She disappears. The only person who knows where she is, first name is Lisa, and no one else knows, what's going on. And then she puts one random video up right in the middle of it all, just before Chris McDonough goes live on a Sunday night. She disappears because, well, realistically, I think she ran out of people who would actually have her on their show, but I think there's more to it than that even. I think it's because she ran out of options. She was given no choice. She certainly didn't go away, do a detox and get her kids back, did she? So
no, and that's one thing. I would think Tim and Robin could have been very supportive to Candace. We're going to help you. We're going to help you get the boys back. We're going to take you to reunification meetings and stuff. They weren't concerned about that for whatever reason.
No,
not at all.
I think maybe, there's the option that someone's paid her to disappear. Someone's paid her to go underground right now. Someone is supporting her financially wherever she is.
Yep, and I would also love to know who is keeping Jodie afloat.
Well, who's the man with the money, the power, and the control right here that we're seeing in this situation? Be my speculation and my guess that it would be this man, the Sandman.
The Sand.
Where did he get his cute nickname from? Do you think that came from Jodie Sue as well?
Well, think about it. I don't watch her channel, but I mean the amount of money that I've heard that she gets, like her pay, it's I mean, I guess some shows there could be quite a bit, but not enough to live throughout the month. And the way she smokes and drinks, she burned through that money so damn fast. Somebody else is helping her out. And I don't believe it's Andy for any, no.
Me either.
No, I don't either. Well, I don't think it definitely isn't him, because she's always complaining about how the fact that he doesn't support her and the kids. So I don't think it's him, but she is getting money from somewhere, and it's not off advertising revenue on her channel either, because most of her ads have been switched off for the last couple of months. So she hasn't been getting that revenue. So she's getting money from somewhere.
She's getting money from somewhere. Now, here's another question. Besides, what is Tim's end game? We know the connection. We've got all that down. How is he going to keep Dawn underfoot when Dawn gets out? Dawn has been left alone, but nothing but his brilliant thoughts since he went to jail. The carnival somewhat got shut down. How is he going to control Dawn when he gets out? Dawn loves Dawn. Dawn thinks he is the smartest man in the room, if you know what I mean.
I wonder if there'll be some offer of a rented place for Dawn, away from YouTubers, away from, whether he's going to isolate Dawn that way after he gets out of jail.
Yes, he's going to try.
I think Dawn will fight back against it and kick back against it, because he's going to have his freedom back.
Tim says that Dawn doesn't need any whiskey when he gets out.
Right, yeah. Of course, Tim says that. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what Dawn thinks.
Right.
Thank you, Tim. Now all of a sudden you're a addiction counselor?
Exactly.
Yeah, you know that, Tim? We know he doesn't need any.
Right.
We know he
Dawn is in crushing grief, and by himself is what he says, because of YouTube.
Yeah, of course.
We destroyed him.
Yeah, nothing to do with his daughter going missing. It's all because of YouTubers have destroyed his life. Not his daughter going missing destroyed his life. YouTubers did that all by themselves. Yeah. Okay, Don. Whatever you say.
YouTubers.
Tim said that.
Search.
Well, actually, I mean, there's no saying that even if Tim put Don in a safe house and paid the rent or whatever, that Don would stay being, sober and whatever. But then there's always the possibility that if Tim does have something on Candace, something solid on Candace, that he'll hold that over Don as well. Where a long time we thought that Don and Candace had something over each other, which was why neither of them would talk. And if Tim has that evidence, then perhaps he has the power to keep Don under control to some extent if he feels, altruistic enough towards Candace.
I agree. Hang on, John Q's backstage. Let's see what he thinks about the Tim and Human Boss connection.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, John. What do you think about Tim and the Human Boss, and who's controlling the situation? Why is Tim so ingrained? What do you think his end game is? Welcome. We've missed you, John.
Hi, John.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Miss Jules. How
Hello.
are you? Miss Cat, how are
Fine,
you?
thank you.
Good, thanks, John.
Miss Brooks, always on point. We got a very interesting chat going on. I was listening while I was driving. It's drizzling here in New York, so I never try to multitask when I'm driving.
I can't blame you. Don't complain about the drizzle, because soon you'll be shoveling snow.
Yeah. I'm driving in New York. You're already multitasking, so you don't want to add an extra. That's for sure.
Fair play.
Yeah. But going back to, I guess, your questions pertaining to, and hello to the chat. Hello to the chat. We got 250 lovely people here.
They are the best. They are the best. All about summer, all about what's going on in this crazy case.
Yeah, but they're holding you down. They're holding you down to it. That's for sure.
Yep.
Mr. Mullins. Okay. In short, from everything that I've been able to come across pertaining to, I guess, his activities, this is all damage control for him.
Mm-hmm.
From how both Don and Candace opened this whole can of worms, Pandora's box, everything up on YouTube, which he had, personally observed, because everything was obviously on YouTube from various different channels. He came up with an idea, I think, as Miss Jules put it, a thought. Said, if I can connect myself in some way, shape, or form to redirecting all of this for them, they'll come out a hell of a lot better than where they were, being intoxicated, inebriated online on various different platforms, phone calls, interviews, you name it, to try to give them some kind of assistance for damage control. So that's, in his mindset, that's what he is setting out to do. With Don isolated in jail, it's far easy because Don is offline. Candace went quiet based upon possibly being advised to shut up, get offline, go quiet. We're trying to begin a grooming process here for Donald, since he's in jail up until October 30th, to begin cleaning up the big mess you guys made, over all these months on various different platforms and everything. So in short, he's there for damage control. And in the end, we'll see if Mr. Mullins sends them a bill.
Well, it seems to me that he's not doing it for altruistic purposes. It seems to me like he's got his own agenda and his own complete plan of the outcome of all of this. I don't think he's doing it because he cares about Don and Candace. That's just my personal opinion. And he definitely doesn't seem to care about Summer. So why would he, out of the goodness of his heart, do it if he was standing to gain nothing from it?
Right.
That is the $64,000 question.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why? It'd been one thing if this was, sewn at the hip, great friends, Don's BFF, they go way back, whatever,
Right.
drinking buddies, whatever have you. And he is, he's involved. We'd all be like, it's his old friend or whatever. Still gonna be some kind of POS because he hangs around the Wells. But this dude comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And is this loyal to them? He has heard all this stuff. He saw Dawn on the toilet with the sunglasses on. He saw the fight break in the doors. He heard, Dawn say the TBI knows, that he likes cocaine, that he went down to Knoxville or Kingsport to buy 2,000 in crack to prove to everybody he doesn't need the money. I mean, he knows all this stuff.
Right. And I believe he has a cause working for him while all of what I had mentioned is in play. And the redirect is better accomplished now with Jodie Sue Brown running her mouth. She's taken over the entire case, so to speak, because she's been on 24/7.
Right.
So his best strategy, if you will, is to let her run her mouth and then regroom Don and Candace going forward to handle damage control. Now all of that damage control then goes back to Jodie Sue Brown. And that's what she's trying to handle right now. Whether she is handling it or not, everybody's unsure about that. But the more she runs her mouth, she is giving little tidbits here and there to piece into a lot of the activities that happen between 125 Ben Hill Road and 110 Ben Hill Road and the people who are involved there. So she's put herself in a very tight box.
Well, and you've got Allie too. There's a lot of suspicion around Allie. She's lost her children. So I mean,
Allie too.
They've sunk their own battleships. So, but he's going to have a very, very hard time getting the public perception off of Dawn and Candace, particularly Candace. She was the one with Summer all day long. She's the one that has a 4-hour window that she can't account for. We're not talking 10 minutes, 15, even an hour.
Right.
Half a day.
Yeah. Something went down with Candace and Summer. Something went down. Either when they got back to the house or during the drive back to the house, something went down and Candace was there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Candace, we can speculate on, but Candace was there because Summer was with her.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been my number one on the table from day one. Donald tried to do a damage control cleanup. That's why he was so outspoken. Running the narrative on news reports, running the same narrative on YouTube channels, running that same narrative on Facebook, just to try to keep the story in everybody's mind that his daughter was abducted. Straight and to the point. They still believe it today. There was an abduction. He cursed the hell out of Ziggy on her channel. I mean, literally, terribly cursed her out on her channel, trying to convince her this is an abduction, man. What the hell are you talking about? I mean, it was a rant like we've never heard before.
And then you hear straight from the horse's ass mouth, Candace, who was with her daughter all day long, talking to Cam, and she slips and says, or maybe it was Ernie, don't kill me, I can't remember which one it was. She never was comfortable with the script.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah, because the script had a lot of holes in it. TBI had to go back to them on several occasions to say, you've got a lot of time here. Is this all you did? And so they had tipped their hand to say, well, if you can really, really remember all the things that you did to fill in this timeline for us, we'd certainly appreciate it because it would help us out. And so that's what they gave them time to do. Donald said so himself.
And did they? No. There's still at least 3 hours missing.
Right. Well, they threw in some laundry, some cooking, some food. They did forget to mention that, the grandmother took a nap. There were a lot of holes. A lot of holes.
A lot of holes. Don't forget the planting flowers. It took 4 hours.
Flowers.
Cactus. Wow. Cactus is now flowers. Okay.
Yeah, can't even get that right.
Yeah, it's funny when
They didn't even know.
Jodie
They
Sue
didn't
said
even
the
know
same
how old
thing.
she was.
Yeah, Jodie
Didn't
Sue
know when
had
her
flowers in
birthday
her.
was.
Yeah, Jodie Sue had flowers in her story too. I said, "Oh, what is this, Flower Day or something?"
Mm-hmm.
I think Jodie Sue just picked up on that. And I think Jodie Sue got jealous of all the attention Candace was getting. I really do. This is like one of the only cases I've ever seen where the suspects are jealous of who looks worse.
Right. Who's the worst suspect?
Right.
They
Right.
out suspect each other all the time, and they're like wannabe witnesses, wannabe suspects, like put themselves right slap bang in the middle of the whole thing. Like, yeah, I might have seen something, I might know something, keep watching and I might tell you. Like, ugh.
Yeah, she felt some kind of way about it. They're leaving me out. I'm the one who heard the scream. I'm the one who told them about the scream.
Right.
But they're
Right.
not mentioning me. My goodness, what's the matter
Well, they
with
don't
them?
mention you because it's been discounted twice by law enforcement.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And that story obviously is her narrative.
Mhm.
It had not been corroborated by anybody, witnessed by anybody. So it's just her interpretation of what she believed she heard. Then she pulls in her children behind it as a support factor,
And the
and
manipulation.
then begins to implement other little things pertaining to some of the things she saw.
A
The
flash of
car,
red.
the
A flash
truck.
of red that went up the hill but never came back down again.
Right. The red flash, the sound of the tires that were different than the truck
Yeah.
tires and the Subaru tires. So wait a minute.
Yeah.
Now she's getting into analytics. Wait a minute.
Right. It was really interesting because she sent a series of texts to Andy that day, and the text prior to the time that she believes she heard the scream were very detailed about absolutely everything she heard, saw. The tree cutters woke her up. She had to go outside. She's sick of that. She's sick of the noise. She goes and plants the flowers, etc., etc. The time goes by where she would have heard the scream in that time. Then she's going on about when's Andy coming home. No mention of the scream at all in those text messages. She spends every minute of every day texting him about everything she sees, thinks, hears, sees, and smells and everything else. And yet the one thing that could have proved that she actually even heard a scream, she just fails to mention.
Go ahead, Miss Cat. Tell it. Put it down.
I always do, John. You know me of old.
Right. That's right. That's
I got no time for the bullshit.
I like it.
Me too. Guys, I hate to cut off good friends and good conversation. I just realized I've got about 20 minutes to make a couple phone calls. I had that car wreck on Saturday.
Yeah.
And
wow.
they close at 5 and it's 4:40 here. But we're going to continue this.
Oh,
cool. Good stuff. Well, it's nearly 11 o'clock here.
enjoyed it.
Go to bed. Thank you so much for having me up for it. It's nice to talk to you again.
No problem.
John.
I'm sorry. I'm such an idiot.
No, you're fine. It's fine. I'm going to bed, so I'll let you make your
Candace, I don't really tell time when I'm having fun.
Oh, mic drop moment, Brooks. I love you. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Cat.
Bye.
Bye, ladies. Bye, chat.
Bye.
Thank you for having us.
Sorry about that, guys. But like I said, I got to take care of this before they close at 5 or it's just one thing after another. I really appreciate everybody, coming in at a later time when I had it scheduled for 9 a.m. Appreciate John being up, Kat being up, Jules being up. I think this was a really great conversation that we really need to continue. In the meantime, between now and tomorrow morning is the next show, unless another catastrophe happens. I will be talking to you guys in Discord or over in the Facebook group. You guys are the best. Love it. You are the best chat and the best community on YouTube. I will see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.